Overwatch League 2019 season playoff race continues in Stage 4 now. It's absolutely crunch time for our 20 teams, man. Only 8 are going to be able to make it all the way through, at least to begin with. There's a lot on the line here in these matches.
Yeah, I was going to say, in this match specifically coming up next, it's going to be one where both teams need a win in a big way to continue to try and get towards that playoff push. It's the Guangzhou Charge versus the Boston Uprising.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to talk about with these two teams, especially with the Guangzhou Charge. They've shown us signs of brilliance all season, but it looks like they're easing into a meta that really suits them.
I mean, outside of like that one streak that they go on where they lose like every game and every map for what feels like a month, I mean, they're pretty strong throughout the league. You take a look where they fall in the standings right now, sitting in 10th place. You see the slumping Dallas Fuel drops behind them. The Boston Uprising, they started off strong and then fell off really hard, sitting at 8 and 13. The map differential not good for Boston either.
Yeah, and look, I mean, at this stage, the Uprising need to make a rush to try and make it even into the top 12 to qualify for play-in matches between 7th and 12th. It's been a very difficult Season 3 for them so far. We've seen a lot of changes to that Boston roster, but the Guangzhou Charge have just come off a pretty big win recently. Philadelphia Fusion was touted to be a huge contender now in the 2-2-2 meta, but Guangzhou really brought the heat.
And look, Hotba in the off-tank role can play, a lot of D.Va, you can play a lot of Roadhog, really good, time for him as a player. And then I think if you're going to see Widowmaker come back into the meta happy, one of the better Widowmakers in the league, I think you're able to make a run here in this final stage if you're the Charge.
And now the Boston Uprising as a franchise had a fantastic Season 1, or at least every other stage was really good. They had an undefeated stage even in the mix as well, where we got to see a lot of their DPS prowess from some of their individuals. Striker has left them, unfortunately, and no longer with the Uprising. So Boston, in their first game of Stage 4, need to show us some new young talent in the DPS role.
And I think if Fusions comes under, I don't want to say criticism, but he's going to be looked at a lot during this stage on just what tanks he can and cannot play. You saw Boston play a lot of Ryan Sorry, triple tank, triple support, can't do that anymore. Or they would play a lot of Wrecking Ball, solo tanking compositions, use RCK's Sombra abilities in that off-tank role. Can't do that anymore. So we got to see him pick up Winston, got to see him pick up Orisa, as Reinhardt's really fallen out of the meta as we've gone over to Rollock.
Now, Fusions has spent a lot of time in our Tier 2 scene, the Academy scene as an up-and-coming player. He absolutely would have had to show mastery on some of those roles. We just haven't seen it yet in the Overwatch League, and we haven't seen this team yet in Stage 4. So let's bring him out. Everyone make some noise for the Boston Uprising. Many question marks over this team. I think expectations were high after what the coaching staff were able to do with the Season 1 iteration of this roster, but Season 2 hasn't really suited them in many ways, and Stage 3 especially was rough. They made the trade, of course. RCK now joins the roster. We see Persia there coming on out. We've seen mix and match, of course. Color Hex joining the team has shown some definite promise. But again, we need to see consistency.
You haven't seen it click yet. They haven't really, even the wins that we've casted, it always goes down to Game 5, goes down to the wire. They got
never easy.
Crazy. Yet never easy, this Boston team. Doesn't make it easy on themselves. Persia in the lineup today, no aim god, so this is something they did in the previous stage. They were rotating around, whether it be their flex supports or main support, and it doesn't really seem to have gelled. So we'll see if in between the Stage 3 and Stage 4 break, they figured it out.
And of course, their opponents looking to rack up their second win of Stage 4. Make some noise for the Guangzhou Charge. And the fans out here today for the Charge, man.
And they're such an interesting team because you look at their record and you look at the players on their team and you're like, well, is this team like a good team? Are they a bad team? Like, where they fall? You kind of look at through their roster and you're like, well, hey, I like the support line. The damage dealers are pretty good. Don't really feel bad about the tank line. It just has not resulted in the results you think when you put these players together that it would. I think this meta though, going into Stage 4 now with Rollock, I think this is where they can really start to rack up some wins. Nero and Happy, a really good damage dealer combo.
Yeah, Hotbar also in the mix now, likely moving away from the damage dealing flexing we saw, of course, over Stage 3. But this team really seems very well positioned to dominate in this meta. Nero has shown himself to be really flexible, but as Happy, a play that we have to highlight. He's obviously, one of the biggest influences, I think, in their previous win against the Fusion. 18% of first eliminations in that match came from this man on your screen.
And I mean, we casted over his games like a few weeks ago, and his Widowmaker play was just unreal. I think if he brings that today, it's going to be very difficult for Boston to deal with. Color Hex would have to pick up that Widowmaker role, but I think as they see Widowmaker, you know, come back into the meta for a lot of people who, you know, maybe weren't around for Overwatch League Season 1, like it's so strong in the professional players' hands, you know, being able to just get those one-shots from anywhere. So map set here, presented by Toyota for today's series. Between Boston and the Charge, it'll be Busan to kick things off, Temple of Anubis, Hollywood, and Havana.
And we've seen Guangzhou go for Widowmaker-based strategies on this map in the past, you know, on a couple of rounds, especially mecha-based. I think that was actually when we first started to see how dominant Happy can be on that role. Later on in the series, we might see a little bit more double sniper-based compositions. We'll see if Boston want to come out of the gates with that one. These teams, in theory, both have double sniper options there. We'll have to see how well it plays out. Fusions, wouldn't be a shock to see him on the Wrecking Ball here, as he's his second most played hero so far. But Happy on the McCree, that fire rate's really been ramped up. His overall damage output is there. If you're connecting with shots, you are doing damage.
You see the Charge did have a good map record on this map in the past. I think stats, though, as we go into stage 4, are going to have to be taken with a little bit of grain of salt, considering what we've seen in the past. Way different game. So you're going to have a Widowmaker for Boston. It's going to be the McCree here that comes out for the Charge.
Nero on the main. It's a song of ice and fire for you. Happy will just sit. They're going to be happy to play around Rio's shield here. It's up to the Uprising to try and circumvent that one. In 2-2-2, the Wrecking Ball is pretty strong here. There aren't a lot of durable bodies as there were in stage 3, and Wrecking Ball can really eliminate them early, but Color Hex, not an easy shot to hit on Shu.
Now with Shu down, that's a lot of the healing for the Charge. Moira provides a ton of AoE healing. It is the Charge, though. We're able to get onto the point and take it first.
What's Fusion's going to do here? The entirety of the Charge are playing up in the back corner, and Fusions actually can't get above them. It's tough to get pile driver. Look, the shield's in the way. It prevents the knock-up from actually occurring.
And also, he can't really kind of go in there blindly against the Orisa Hog combo. May down there as well, so a little bit of a bunker setup here on the point for the Charge.
Target practice for Happy. This looks like tutorial mode. He just sits here and waits for enemies to reveal themselves. Color Hex blown up there. Great halt coming out from Rio to set up the kill. So Nero was quick on the uptake. He sends him packing with an icicle.
And you think of May in real close quarters scenarios, very strong, but that right click, that icicle, it just has no fall-off damage. With the halts combination with the hook, you can just put down so much damage as May. It's Blazing switches over towards Junkrat. So right now, from the Boston Uprising, you're going for a little bit of a shield break comp. Like
time for the Bunker Buster.
Well, RCK is still on D.Va, like you would have liked the Roadhog here, but because maybe you're playing D.Va, that's where you need even more shield break in terms of a Junkrat.
RCK able to break shields. He just has to get kind of close to them, which is the risky part.
Without a Lucio here as well, you're also prone of getting split off and trying to bait this May wall out. Just haven't got it yet.
Nero a little bit too canny for that. He is aware that Color Hex is flanked behind him. Color Hex knows Nero's here. Infraside in play. Nero takes a glancing blow.
They have to go all the way around to the other side of the point to even touch Boston.
I mean, Color Hex,
they don't have the ability to speed in.
Color Hex isn't even safe around the corner. Not in a world where Halt exists and Rio's able just to yoink him out to the open. So again, 82%. The Uprising just haven't managed to crack the code here. 2 support ults to work with, but who's going to get nano boosted? Is it Fusions, perhaps? No real great candidates currently.
No, I mean, Kellex left Valkyrie here as well. You may need to blow both of these support ults to take the point back. This is not a good scenario to be if you're Boston.
It's got to be here, though. Oh, there it is. Blase gets hooked in. He's able to survive that, though. And Persia from the backline's trying to assist. Sound barrier, though. The Guangzhou Charge have just banked ultimates through the whole round. But Happy's put to sleep during Deadeye. Follow-up opportunity is there, but the Uprising have to take it. It was Blase to get the finish of the remote mine, and RCK is caught in the blizzard. He'll go for the self-destruct, but he won't be able to remake after the fact. It does force Guangzhou away, but they just step back onto the point during overtime. Blase needs a multi-kill here, and he only gets Rio, but Fusions is able to chime in. Shu dancing across the point, holds onto his fate until he absolutely has to use it. Nero might get a reprieve here as Fusions has to turn his attention now towards the Roadhog, and he's not able to finish the kill. Shu is in there, Violent Grasp, claiming kills, and Happy now back on the tracer. It's going to be the slam down. Hotpa very low on health, but the supercharger now gets removed, and that'll do the job. From start to finish of that round, the Boston Uprising looked really to struggle to put their finger on the pulse.
Yeah, he went DPS Moira there at the end. He ends up picking up the Mercy and the Junkrat. So that is a really odd first round, as it felt like there were not really many fights, not really many engagements. There was only 16 deaths across both teams. Really, you're looking at it as like the first fight and the last fight. Like, it was a really slow point.
And Matt, that's evidenced by the fact that the Charge were able to hold all their ultimates until the final fight. They had 6. And the Uprising had 2 support ultimates to work with. They just kept running into a brick wall. Ice wall, really not a brick wall.
So Boston will come out here with On a Break, this thick support combination that's kind of come up now with Rollock in place. Brigitte, you weren't really sure, are you going to be able to get as much healing to be able to use as an actual support in this scenario? I think the repair pack is just really strong when you combine it with like a flanker or even Fusion who's going in. So you play the Brigitte in those types of scenarios.
Plus they have a little bit of self-sufficiency in RCK, able to heal, and Fusion's able to stave a lot of damage off with the adaptive shield.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to run a McCree, if you want to keep on the Widowmaker, a good deterrent for Nero on Sombra would be running McCree.
Happy moving up here, Fusion's taking a chunking. I'll be able to play quite aggressively here. Shield being put up, he knows there's a Widow, so we're just going to play close, playing within his bounds and not trying to peek out too far. He knows that Color Hex has limited targets to aim for now, and the Uprising are forced out of position. They do bait the charge into a biting grenade, but there's no follow-up. The Uprising are on the back foot.
When do you decide if you're Boston that this Widow is not really getting it done? Right now, Color Hex doing a nice job in terms of putting down damage, 31% of his team's damage, but only 2 final blows. And when you look at Widowmaker as a hero, like, it's great to put down damage, pepper players from range.
Yeah.
That most likely is getting healed up. You need to see those headshots come in, need to see the final blows come through.
Listen, Hotbar has as many final blows, 6 as the Uprising do as an entire team, and he has 73% hook accuracy. The Roadhog factor here is very important. Deadeye now here to start off the fight for Happy. Ice Wall goes up immediately, but he's going to try and skirt around the side of it. Risky play, doesn't find anything with it, but Kelex's Immortality Field is removed. Fusion's now looking for Happy. It was an attempted halt to keep the McCree in place, but now RCK needs to push forward, but he's denied. It's a barrier thrown up by Rio.
Color Hex taking an off angle here with Imprecise, just trying to find a pick, and there he goes. He gets on Nero, that's huge. So the Sombra out of play. Boston needs to make a play for the point.
Yeah, Rio's forced to throw down a suboptimal shield angle there to try and protect his team from the Widowmaker, but it's go time here. Whole Hog coming out, Fusions just took a face full of damage, and Hotbar, he's happy to be pushed away from the point. He's far enough away that he's not taking a lot of damage from that Roadhog ultimate. Amplification Matrix now, but might be a little bit too late in the day. Kellex is spelled by Happy by headshot immediately, and Hotbar steamrolls through with the Whole Hog. 82% on the clock. Boston still haven't captured a point.
And if you're Boston, your best case scenario is getting this Blizzard here towards the end. Maybe you end up with a supercharger, but you're walking into an EMP. You're gonna have EMP Deadeye potentially.
Yeah,
and a sound barrier. So really good opportunity here for the Charge to put away map number 1.
Color Hex just mowed over there now. The Uprising have to fight up close and personal, but no chance to touch. I would say, and I hope I'm within my bounds to make this assertion, that was quite an anemic showing from the Boston Uprising. Not a lot to speak of.
Fusions tries to get a touch there towards the end, but gets hacked. Solo EMP'd by Nero. It's map 1 is all Guangzhou Charge.
Stony face there for Fusions. He knows that they might, be struggling here. A lot of work to be done as map 2 is right up next.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
So far, so good for the Guangzhou Charge. A dominant map one, and I mean that when I say it. Very quiet for the Boston Uprising, and they just couldn't figure out how to overcome the fairly standard seeming defensive setup. And this man on your screen, Hotbar, keeping it picante all the way through. 8 final blows on the Roadhog, and hook accuracy nearing 70%. That's the kind of contribution you want from a hero that's designed to get picks and start fights at a player advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Roadhog as a tank really kind of plays like another damage dealer. So Temple of Anubis coming up next, and you think for somebody like Hotba, who in the past we've seen him flex over to a lot of different roles, I'd really enjoy playing the Roadhog.
Well, this is what people are doing on the PTR in 2-2-2. They lock tank, but they really want to play DPS, so they just pick Hog.
And you feel just as good as the Charge on defense. They don't opt for a Widowmaker here, so they go with the Hanzo instead. Shu on Ana, so you'll have Ana Batiste as a support combination. So you have the Immortality field for the bridge. Also, the Ant Matrix really good for a lot of the heroes. I mean, Arisa, Hog, the Hanzo too.
At long range, it starts to turn some of your heroes with a lot of fall off into legitimate threats. If you're keeping the enemy at arm's length, you do get that. Hex being very
trying to break shield here, just trying to get them off bridge, right? You know, you break the shield here. You know there's no Widowmaker on the other side, so you're not as worried to play the farm.
I mean, job done here essentially for Color Hex, Matt. Now the Uprising can move around the left. They're trying to go forward. Fusions gets blown up, and well, that was the anchor. The pivot point for the Boston Uprising is, it doesn't matter if they've been able to push forward and gain some ground. They've got no one to actually plant the flag in it.
Yeah, he's not really, CC happy with a tank shot there on the Blase. You're not really worried if you're the Guangzhou Charge. You get that wall split off there from Nero as Hotba gets a hook out of the sky. He gets left in the process though by Persia, but Happy's just murdering everybody. You're not really worried if you're the Charge because you split fusions off, and then the Diva just comes flying in. The defense matrix nerfs are in this patch. You know, it's really visible to see. Doesn't go as far.
Change the length, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you get the May freeze. It doesn't get eaten up by the defense matrix, right? So you get the freeze on. You're able to just lock fusions in place, get an easy limb. You almost get the Diva for free as well in that type of setup.
Again, Happy playing relatively aggressively here with the Hanzo. Shield pressure, and also opponent pressure, looking to find picks like he did earlier on. Sniper extraordinaire, but it's Chara that gets picked off from afar by Color Hex, and again, the setup is good. The Uprising can advance now through this choke, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to get there, but Color Hex's job is to neutralize the threats before the fight even starts. The picks that they're looking for. Dragon Strike, though, comes through the main choke. This will force the Uprising to take a sidebar for the time being. Color Hex wants to circumvent and go over the top.
Who will get this nano boost? Shu's still holding on to it. He's the solo support right now as Chara's getting back into the fight.
Rio finally burnt down here. Color Hex sees the Blizzard on the low ground here. Nero is trying to save things with the charge, but Chara, his immortality field was taken out. Doesn't matter, Happy's found the big pick though. I don't feel like Kellex can go across the gap and get that resurrect, so now he's essentially stranded with Blase. Hotbuzz looking for another hook. The Butcher is hunting.
Yeah, they used the nano on the Hotba there. He's able to just stay on the point forever. Nero also with the Blizzard, so you end up to just force them back. Boston does have some ultimates though for this next fight though to use in a good way, right? I mean, you can use your barrage with the supercharger, even add some more damage to the mix.
Yeah, Boston bide their time. This is starting to look reminiscent of our first map in this series. Here's the Dragon Strike. This will force Rio over to the left-hand side, but Shu gets picked off there. Whilst everyone was scurrying for cover, there with the picks, Chara and Shu both go down to Blase, putting in a real big effort, but it's not going to save. They get the 3K Dragon Strike. Happy still up on the point now, and Hotbar also present. Nero going to wrap around and go for the flank on Persia, who's frozen solid, and he picks him off.
I think Color Hex is so worried about using this barrage, because as soon as he barrages, he's going to get hooked on down or slept. We can take a look at this. Instant replay, so this will be the Dragon Strike through the wall. The halt is beautiful there.
That is brilliant from Rio.
While they use Supercharger as well, that's a huge play.
Boston Uprising are running out of time here. They are propelled forward, but not by choice. It was Rio from behind, knocking him into the enemy team. Color Hex trying to go for a close range barrage here, and he gets two somehow, getting out alive. The Anubis going a long way to keep him vital. Color Hex looks to the high ground, but Happy's already taken down by Persia and a Blizzard thrown on the point to buy some time. RCK, Hog actually pulling himself into the Blizzard, only frozen for a moment though. 5 seconds remain, but the charge are mostly cleared off the point, and the Uprising still get to play some Overwatch.
Yes, it's a nice biotic grenade from Persia as he does not get hit by the Blizzard that Nero drops down. Lands a big biotic grenade, connects with 2 or 3 players there. while in the blizzard. Not enough damage for the charge to push on through. The Mei gets taken out of the equation here as they'll go Sombra Doomfist in terms of damage deals.
Nero starting on that high platform. I have to wonder if he tries to position himself above that first trope. Drops straight on in, seismic slam here. A lot going on. He's trying to get extra damage, just a little bit more. But Fusions was already taken out by the minefield. It's unlikely the charge stop here, though. They'll live up to their name and get some extra ult percentage built up. Nero just switched to Doomfist and now has 83% of his ultimate charge.
I mean, when he comes flying from the top ropes and he's got that nano boost, he builds up about 50% of his ult basically instantly. I mean, he comes down with a seismic slam, hits a big uppercut, then another rocket punch on a Blase. So now you're going to see the charge get really aggressive. You know, they want to use this dive composition with the Sombra and the Doomfist to just stop the Boston Uprising before they can get a setup going with their Mei and Orisa.
So Kellex actually on the Brigitte here. The position for the charge is annoying. They're just going to drop down and make it half a color hex to get any advantage. Kellex is just a spear on the wall at this stage, and Nero brings a fist down. That is filthy. There's not really much that RCK can do either. No amount of self-healing is going to save you from a prime-time rage in the cage.
You see, you know, Doomfist is a hero. Like, when you can start to chain these abilities together and get these combos going, you just get rolling. There's nothing that the other team can really do about it. Now you'll have a self-destruct. You're going to have probably a nano boost in this fight as well. You can use on Nero again to build it up. You probably end up seeing them use it on the Rio here to try and build up towards a Primal Rage. Maybe an EMP in play here for the charge as well, as things are looking good for them again.
RCK is just checking here for Happy. His shrapnel has a wide spread, so it is reasonable to think he could reveal Happy's location. Has not done so yet.
The charge are waiting for ults, now they're going to go.
I mean, Guangzhou are happy with this. They're happy that Boston want to take their time. A supercharger option in Fusions in this fight. All comes up here, and RCK unable to see the wood for the trees. Couldn't find his target. Hooks one in, though. He gets Chara. It's a trade of support so far in a 5v5, but Nero gets there. Quickly eliminates Kellex, and then finds RCK, who couldn't take action. He was locked during the animation of Whole Hog, and he's looking for more. Fusion's able to keep his team alive with the shield, but where do you go from here?
And you can just back out here if you're the charge. You don't need to go in, fight those players in the corner. The Boston Uprising have to back out as well.
Guangzhou have 6 ults,
with
man.
all 6 ultimates. RCK has to switch off of Hog and go to Diva just to try and make an impact.
Deja vu for the charge and the nightmare that never ends for the Boston Uprising. 13 seconds remain. Happy is about to flip the switch here. There it is, EMP connects, and that's on the 3. Blase, no chance to Ice Block, no chance to Blizzard. Fusion's caught deep in enemy territory, and Color Hex is eliminated by Nero. And it will be Nero just taking to the skies now. Seismic Slam to reposition, and the rest of the Uprising will be mopped up. Dominance from our Guangzhou charge here. They look very well suited to this matchup.
You know, the charge have been really impressive as they've been able to play, you know, a bunker setup around the Orisa Hog. And then right there, you see them bring in their dive with Rio and the Winston and Hotba on Diva. So the charge have looked really well-rounded here in our first match against the Boston Uprising. And I think for Boston on offense, we'll have to see if they can bounce back after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Cease your resistance.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League. If you're just joining us, the Guangzhou Charge have handily been taking the measure of the Uprising so far throughout the series. Early days yet, of course, but for Boston, an unsuccessful attack on point B really means that this might be quite the short map. The Charge look very good, both on offense and defense in general. We'll see what they bring to the game. Nero and Happy looking very good, and the Charge are just a team who are expert at converting teamfight wins off Happy's openings.
I'd be excited to see this from the Charge if they come out with like a double main tank type of setup, but Hoppa go back and play Diva.
Sombra Genji though, I feel it.
So now they'll just play a Winston Diva dive. So they're going to play Winston Diva dive. You have the Sombra Genji. I think Genji's kind of been a hero. You don't really know how he was going to fit into the meta.
We're still not sure, I think. We've seen like agility sort of go from sort of earlier this week.
I mean, you're really playing around getting like those big nano blades, right? This composition is going to be very difficult to like get up onto the bridge and stay healthy, and a lot of damage loaded up here from the Uprising.
Yeah, and also this composition definitely relies on Colorhex's ability to use the space his team creates with this Orisa, but Happy already is pushed in, getting rid of Persia, just as the Uprising think that was settled. Shu was brought back to life, so it's a player advantage. This is where Blase has to dig his heels in. Rio now down. Slow up the Charge, but a little bit of a scare for Boston there.
This is the composition on defense that we saw a lot during Season 1, where the Widowmaker can play all the way in the back.
A treehouse
challenge, because you can't really obviously access the Widowmaker as easily. You have to send like the Genji all the way around.
And then the Genji has to try and 1v1 against a pocketed Widow, which is tough.
Now they're going to use the Nano Boost onto the Winston though to get on in. So this is a good way to try and break this bridge setup.
Yeah, perfect as well. Persia gets caught out. Kellex is going to be forced to run away, but he won't escape. His Riptire from Blase now doesn't mean a whole lot if it only gets one kill. You have to trade up with the Riptire most often than not. Colorhex is able to get rid of Rio, but how does he get back to the point here? He just doesn't. He's going to have to back away to spawn. And again, maybe it was Nero saying, hey guys, I don't have my blade yet. Maybe Rio's able to get more value out of it. He's also able to charge Primal Rage, which combines really well with a Dragon Blade in this next fight for Guangzhou. If he sticks with it.
Colorhex switches over to Torbjorn, and he actually comes out of the spawn on it, so not a bit of a joke here.
I always knew Kiwis were trolls.
You get the Torbjorn May combo on D. You're not really close to the Blizzard. Reset a lot here for Boston. EMP Blade potential setup you're waiting on here for the Charge. And that'll be Valkyrie used here from the Uprising. So that's a very odd use, as nobody was anywhere close here.
You're about to see the strength of the Sombra Genji composition in general. EMP, no one can run away from the Dragon Blade, let alone try and out-damage Nero or stun him up. That's a big thing. Your CC is taken away from you, Nero. So you're going to hold on to it though. Happy's able to find two in quick succession. Persia, I can understand. He loses his shield. He's an easy target. But Kellex just got burnt down. 2 for 1 for Happy. You'd be pleased about that. Now the Primal Rage. Here's the blade just for the finishing touches here. Nero cutting the cake. And a celebration to be had for sure, because Guangzhou Charge are on the fast track to another map win. Here come the Uprising though, with a couple of players off the respawn. Wall placed up. Rio nano boosted, but unable to stay in the back lines for long. But with Blase taken down, a big stall component is missing. Rio wasn't able to drop down to the low ground to get the health pack though, and Persia returns. Big pick on Chara. The Boston Uprising able to hang in there, and at that, before the Charge got to that one tick. Not an easy thing to do when the fight starts so against you.
Oh, I mean, that one looked like we were going back to break pretty quick.
Yeah.
Looked like the Charge, they had a great setup. They get the EMP from Happy. He connects it, both supports, takes them out rather quickly. Then you're able to hold on to the blade for a while. You had Nano Boost, Primal Rage thrown in there, and somehow Boston off the spawn can come out and get a hold.
Here comes the play again over the right-hand side. Rio in. Tough one here, but they do get rid of the Immortality field. The Guangzhou Charge able to set up. They didn't lose anyone on the initial dive, which bodes very well for them. Nero is aware that Kellex was hiding in the corner. Amplification Matrix could come out, but Kellex is split off from the rest of his team right now. We can't really get value out of it. He just has to shoot through it himself. Let's see if it's enough. You see him sat there with Persia. Blase is able to find Hotbar, and Nero felled by the self-destruct. The Resurrect there won't do too much. The Charge are already out of dodge.
Yeah, but you did get Boston Uprising to use their Blizzard. They ended up using self-destruct and amp matrix. So you come back, if you're the Guangzhou charge, you didn't really invest anything outside of your Valkyrie there, and Primal Rage. So now you have a Blade, EMP, Nano Boost combination, self-destruct to clear off the point.
Matt, how easy is it to force this Transcendence out of Persia here? Make him use it frivolously.
You can tell they're really worried about it getting forced out because they have Kelly switch over to Briggs. You have Briggs Zen in terms of combo here.
Well, EMP or Transcendence, one of them's going to have to come first, or Transcendence won't be coming at all. Here it is, EMP straight on in there. Persia is able to get the Transcendence off, but not quick enough to save Kellex or Fusions. Transcendence of 4 players is not the value that the Uprising are looking for here to make it a worthwhile defense, and RCK to be desuited now. Hot Bar self-destruct, there's still the vestiges of a shield left. Fusion's now going to be returning on the Wrecking Ball, and again, Blase being annoying, wasting a little bit of time by throwing up the wall, but even he too eventually is felled. Koi up from Color Hex here, covering the point. The charge need to be careful. They will get burned down if they linger. Nira is able to stay airborne for the most part. Color Hex thought about the hammer, but he realizes this is a bit more serious than that. Still enough to push back the charge for now, but it looks like they're still 1 foot in.
Yeah, they got a Valkyrie here to top everybody up, and then you'll see a Nano Boost come out from Shu. The Hoppa gets D-Mac. They still may want to commit to this, though.
Fusion's very durable, can last for quite some time, and Nira's going to get frozen solid here. Chara, keep him alive. Nice job, the Mercy really paying attention to the Genji. That's going to give Nero the Dragon Blade. Chara setting his team up there, paying attention, triaging the correct targets, and Fusion's as durable as he is, can't do much against the Blade. Here come the ticks, and that'll do it. The Guangzhou charge will not be denied here. Miro getting his Dragon Blade at just the right time, but it was the rest of the team keeping him on his feet. So far, we've seen Happy, huge impact here on the Sombra. We'll see what the charge should show us after half-time.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Cease your resistance.
Meteor strike! I'm on fire! Anyone want to use it? Meteor strike! No escape!
The Uprising and the Charge are both battling for a spot in that top 12, but it's been all Guangzhou so far in this one. They're up 2-0 over Boston coming into the half. What's up, everybody? The crew, we are back. Guys, the Guangzhou Charge look like a completely different team this stage. They are completely outclassing the Boston Uprising. Is it safe to say that the W keyboard is back for these guys?
I think so, absolutely. And it even was at the end of Stage 3. I mean, at the end of Stage 3, when we went to Atlanta, they beat the Shanghai Dragons.
Exactly.
Just before Shanghai went on that ridiculous run in the Stage 3 playoffs. So this team is definitely for real. And with the power of their DPS duo, they could beat almost anybody right now.
All right, well, let's jump straight into the highlights. First half, we're kind of quick.
Oh, man.
You know, it's like they're in their comfort zone again, Guangzhou, playing with
I
their
mean, yeah,
DPS
this is
heroes.
scripted, Malik, and we had to make up time because the first game went so long, so we decided
Yeah, right?
it's going to be a short one. Boston Uprising got 0 presence on that point throughout the entirety of that control map. They were not very committed when they attacked, so it was a kind of a very timid approach to a very, very solid Guangzhou charge, which just jumped onto the point, bunkered up, and didn't let go of it.
Really solid performance by Rio and Hopper as well. Hopper destroyed statistically here, but Rio's halts allowed that to happen. And Hopper's flexibility and his ability on the Roadhog has been such a boon for this team now that Orisa Hog is the composition that most people play.
So, talking about Anubis, man, that was super fun watching Happy do his thing on
He's so
console.
good.
For sure.
You think about him as a Widowmaker, but he plays every sniper hero.
That's true. In fact, their team in general looks very, very versatile. I think we're going to dive into that a little bit later. However, Colorhex had some great moments as well. This is the Colorhex we wanted to see. We wanted to see him on that far run. He got 1 or 2 moments where he actually got to showcase why we have been hyping him up so much on that hero. Unfortunately, his team didn't quite pull with him.
Yeah, and I do think it's a big team problem because you can see the individual ability is there from Colorhex, Blase, the others, but the Roadhog Orisa synergy isn't there. They're not making space for Colorhex. You saw him having to go on wild flanks a lot of the time to be able to get anything done. Boston haven't really wrapped their heads around how to play as a team in this matter, I think.
Right. And when you talk about individual skill, there's someone I like to bring up in particular. Nero, one of the fledgling stars here in the league, definitely showing what he is made of here in this this roll lock stage that we're having.
He's insane. He's actually straight up insane. We did compliment his Mei in the pre-show, but he plays so much more than just that. He's actually been showing off on 11 different heroes so far, and that's only the heroes he played for more than 4 or 5 minutes. I didn't actually think, or I didn't actively think about how much depth he actually has as far as it goes when it comes to his hero picks, but he must be one of the most flexible DPS players we have.
I think so. I think he's one of the most flexible young talents as well. The guy's only just turned 18, and he's been playing competitive Overwatch since he was 16, and he was already getting noticed at that time in the North American scene. I mean, look at how many heroes this guy has played recently. He's played a huge amount of stuff, and I mean, that ranges to the Brigitte when he was forced to play that, but he's also played Zarya, he's played some Roadhog as well. This is a phenomenally talented young guy who will only go upwards. He might be the best flex DPS that Team USA has. When we're starting to think about the World Cup coming up, this guy actually dropped out because he's focused on the Guangzhou charge. But if he hadn't, he might be a direct pick for that team because he's just that good.
And in this very meta right now, and with this Rollock, this is going to make the charge a super, super scary team. Because frankly, normally when you see like 2 DPS players, you kind of know what to see from them, what you're going to see from them. So you know what to expect and you can prepare accordingly. But you have individuals who can flex over on so many different heroes, you never quite know what you're going to get from your opponents.
Very versatile. And what's crazy about that heroes usage chart is that Doomfist is even in there. He was playing Doomfist in Anubis and completely wrecked. Completely wrecked.
Yeah, just brand new heroes, and Nero seems to be able to play them. He's just really a gifted player at this game.
It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, so going into map 3, we have Hollywood. Who is this map favorite? I would guess you guys are going to say Charge, just based off of how they played in that first half.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's just going to be Charge the whole way, honestly. We have yet to see this team properly challenged by the Boston Uprising. I think they need to do a lot of work to be able to fix their fundamentals and get back in the game.
Yeah, that's the thing, because the issues we're seeing from Boston are not, oh, this individual like played a little bit wonky, because it is really coming back to fundamentals and a lack of coordination and potentially communication. That can't be fixed over a halftime, so unfortunately it's going to go be
you say
Charge.
that. They are the kings of the reverse sweep.
That is actually true. They are winning map
ready.
fives like no other team, but you know what? No, not this.
Oh,
no.
okay. Well, now you've done it.
I'm going to look like such a fool if this is going the way of Boston.
Well, we'll find out. I was going to say it's been all Guangzhou, but there's one team that knows map 5. It is the Boston Uprising. And guys, we're going to see if they're going to be able to pull off that reverse sweep and just a bit more Overwatch action coming your way. Stay tuned.
I started watching some streams of the pros, and the pros were amazing. And one of the biggest guys I saw was awesome was Hydration. He was part of the Gladiators.
Suddenly I'm at every game, and
the beautiful LEDs, the cheers of the crowd.
It shields up. It's thunderous applause. It's roaring in the arena. It's a lot of clap, clap, stomp, stomp. You just kind of get sucked into it.
And I've been hooked ever since.
My ultimate is charging. My ultimate is charging.
Well, the first half of this series has definitely justified Guangzhou's fans' optimism in how their team looks now in this new meta. For Boston fans, though, I mean, we've just really seen the curtain, being pulled back and trying to get a feel for where they're at. They may not even know. What do you think's going wrong here? Is it like an understanding of the meta that's troubling you?
I mean, I don't even really know if you can say understanding of the meta because we don't really know what it is yet.
So
like,
no.
it is still actively like developing. The one thing though I think you see from Boston so far is they've not played a ton of Roadhog. We've seen a lot of other teams incorporated Roadhog almost like all the time unless they're playing like some sort of dive. RCK has been staying on the Diva for a lot of the time, only 6 minutes played on the Roadhog thus far, so maybe you bring some more Roadhog in. Towards the end, their support combos starting to get a little odd, where you had the Zen Brigitte towards the end. I think that was really just a situational play, trying to bash
It's the Genji, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that on live currently, Brigitte is even more powerful as a healer, right? She has multiple charges of the
PTR,
pack. Yeah, on the PTR, sorry. But on this current build of Overwatch that we're playing, Brigitte is the same as she was before 222 came around, and it was always said that, as she currently is on this build, not a great second support, but maybe just a necessity against a team with a Genji player or a Sombra that's going to cause you problems if they're not stunned.
I think you could even incorporate her into some types of like dive compositions where you usually see teams that play like a Zen Lucio and whatnot in terms of like how they would dive, and like that doesn't really have a ton of healing potential. Like you can play like Lucio Brig if you're going to go dive in really quick, get in their face, brawl it up, but I think in some of the comps, it's a little bit difficult to fit her in some way. So Guangzhou will be on defense here. They'll have Arisa, they'll have the Diva in play this time, so no Roadhog for Hatpa here on the defensive end. And then they'll have the Pharah Hanzo in terms of damage dealers. Blase get hit with a Sleep Dart cross map there from Shoot.
He's chilling in spawn.
You'll see probably maybe some changes come in here for Boston.
Man, historically not a great map for Boston. They are 1-3 on Hollywood so far this season. Doesn't bode well for the way the series is going. Again, they drop this map and Guangzhou will be the winner of the series regardless of map 4's result.
It's so different though. Like, in the previous stages, obviously without the roll lock, like in terms of, map wins and losses, the maps play completely different now. As Boston, they went back and they switched to an all-out dive. So they go with a Genji Sombra dive.
Miro has an idea now where Boston are playing from. Oh dear! I know you're already sitting down, Color Hex, but you might want to stand up and sit back down. Fusions, again, that Winston. We talked about this. When do we see it? How much of it will we see? Fusion's just making himself pretty scarce right now. That may answer your question.
That Color Hex tried to get like cute going over the top of the building.
He got boomed into the
Shu and
24th and a half dimension.
Yeah. At the same time, they both connect. And, Shu actually gets the credit for the final blow there, but I mean, a lot of the damage is done by Nero.
To jungle out there, Kelsey. Watch out, mate.
You probably see a Nano go on a fusion series. You're nowhere close to a Blade, so maybe try and build up a Primal on the next leap in.
That's not bad. Boston get the high ground. They force the charge off with minimal loss of life, and Color Hex, though, again gets caught out. Oh, you back happing in these head-to-heads. RCK put to sleep.
I don't know if this Nano was actually meant for RCK, because Fusions actually started to back out, and like they kind of crossed paths as RCK went in. And I think that was actually intended for Fusions, potentially, and then go to the lower side of the cafe, but it gets with RCK up on the high ground. He gets slept instantly, because he used all his Matrix to go in and protect Fusions.
That might explain why Persia was looking quite crestfallen in the moments just after that. Yeah, normally the Diva's supposed to be the escort for the nano boosted Winston, and not the other way around.
And if your Diva knew they were going to get the nano boost, you're probably not going to burn all your Matrix on the fly in. Potentially use the Matrix, eat up like a sleep dart, and then use it. So Valkyrie used here by Kellex to kick things off.
I mean, Shu's got so much room now. Nero's going to get the nano boost. It's up to him when he wants to pull the trigger on the barrage, if he even needs it. Oh, he knows that defense Matrix is done. Well timed. Nero just burning it down. Persia using everything he can to keep himself alive. It might actually work out, but Nero is being pocketed by Chara, so he'll take a bit more damage than that. Still, Nero doesn't fancy taking his chances any further.
Supercharger available here for the charge on defense. Now you finally have some ultimates here for Boston. It's been about a 3-minute blade build up here for Color Hex. He's been the first one dead in a lot of these fights.
How many AKM blades is that? I think it's more than one AKM.
Let AKM live.
Sometimes I feel like I exist to give him grief. Now his brother's out there living in Sweden, so yeah, it's my job to do that now. Color Hex, Nano Blade, surely over the top, hurdles, finds the connection on Happy here. Is there anything more to be had? Oh, just one swipe, he would have had the mercy. Chara is able to get away, and there might be a chance here for the charge to recover. Blase with an EMP though, you'd think they'd be struggling to fight through that if it was also used, and it doesn't have to be. Color Hex is good on the cleanup, and the Uprising get to at least play the payload portion of this map. 24 seconds and less remaining as they capture the payload.
And I think you're going to have to see Boston maybe change some things up as Color Hex. He'll go back and play Widowmaker here. The second stage of the map is Widow really strong. He probably expects a Widow swap out of Happy. Looks like Happy going back to the spawn. Potentially will be doing that. That's going to be an EMP. Connects with the Pharah Mercy, puts Nero in a really weird spot.
Yeah, Nero tries to use the rooftop there to arrest his descent and try and stay out of line of sight. Not able to do that. It's an emergency landing for the Pharah, and he's back to spawn. And you see Guangzhou now had to give a bit of space, which is kind of tricky because, look, you're playing without a Lucio and you have an Orisa, so, you know, getting first picked with this comp can always be a little bit awkward. Still able to get away without further casualties incurred. Oh, okay, fair enough. Who's rezzing Kellex?
Nero just comes out on Hanzo and just picks off the Mercy, but Color Hex with the better of Happy in the Widow duel.
Self-destruct here, just to keep fam safe.
That's just mean. Everybody else on Boston just backed out. That was just hot, but with a little bit of the BM there. Just dropping that self-destruct right on
I've seen it happen many times. Yeah. I've seen it happen to XQC more than once back when he was a pro player. So sometimes it'd be like that. What's Nero looking for here? Probably his opposite number in the sniper role, Color Hex. Doesn't want to really peek too long against the Widow. That is quite a high value Sonic arrow. That tells the charge so much about the positioning of the Mercy and the Widow.
Also, he knew the Sombra was going over towards that left-hand side as well, so started to pre-fire that a little bit.
Oh no! Yeah, Shu drops a biting grenade on top of him there, and RCK realizes he's got nothing left to do here. Back to the drawing board once more, and there is 57 seconds left.
You know, I think one thing to take away from this series in terms of like you know, the meta and just like state of the game that we see right now is, I think it was the same way last year, but these first pickoffs in fights with a double sniper is so important. Nero trying to get close, potentially on a big dragon.
I was expecting to try and follow up on a Holt there, but RCK was in a position where he'd be close enough to eat a Dragon Strike. Would not have plumed out into the Dragon yet. So. Happy, I mean, this is brutal. Infrasight now, so the Charge still have all the information coming in. It's like Cerebro, Matt. They're hooked up. They know exactly what's going on here.
They have high ground as well.
Yeah. What else could you ask for? Happy's got a cheeky little angle here. He can quickly transition to the high ground if he's dived. RCK, does he really? No. Oh, he got demech'd. Okay, has to be a self-destruct for RCK now to get back in the mech to make a proper fight of it here. The Uprising need to rally the troops to try and pull their resources for one last push. Miro, okay, probably wanted to go on the high ground. Yep. Second time's the charm. Supercharger has been used here by Rio. Where does Fusions go with this? He's unsure as well. Tries to pile driver down, doesn't find anyone, and Persia's now missing here for the Boston Uprising. They just have the Mercy left, but that's not going to be enough. The fire, or the Dragon Strike, was held onto by Nero for quite some time. And it gets well used there. Rio, sure, he gets the MP, but it's just Blasé now. It's in a Blasé of glory. He's going to be having to translocate out. Guangzhou Charge again, staving off yet another ambitious push from the Boston Uprising, or multiple of them. Boston just don't have the answers right now, and you can see it on their faces. Guangzhou able just to lean in, ease into an opponent that doesn't seem to have that killer instinct right now. Must be nice for them. It'll be interesting to see what's going to be happening on the other side of the coin here. Boston had to think about how to put a defense together for a very long hold. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Well, the Boston Uprising aren't going to be given many more chances after this. This defensive attempt has to be pretty stalwart. The Guangzhou Charge are looking to pretty much lock up the series here in map 3. Boston barely a chance to play Overwatch, really. Persia had a decent attacking round, Matt. He's out there doing more damage than Color Hex is.
Yeah, and Blasé as well.
So doing more damage than his DPS on that Ana pick.
The flex support for the Boston Uprising came to play today. Just need everybody else to show up for a bit. Farah and Hanzo for both teams. In terms of damage dealers, you're probably going to see Rio go back to the spawn, pull out the Orisa. So Orisa Hog on offense for the Charge, and you have the D.Va in play still here for Boston.
What does Farah Hanzo say to you about a team's approach?
It's a ton of poke. I mean, ton of poke, ton of shield damage. Color Hex takes out Shu there, so let Color Hex able to get that first pick off. This will probably force a resurrection from Chara, but I know a lot of shield damage from both characters, Hanzo and Farah. And I think though for the Charge, you have that extra shield pressure though that comes in from Hotba. The ability to also get those ults and hook combos is huge.
This positioning from Nero is incredibly aggressive. You're really trying to push Color Hex down, but maybe he's trying to keep Color Hex's attention away from the fact that Hotbar was also flanking and looking for a little hook. No connection. Color Hex. Oh my! Okay, one more! Oh, that's filthy! Okay, I mean Color Hex now has arrived. Or at least his spirit has entered his body.
It's a really weird first half for Blasé, as he has 6 limbs, 2 final blows, so he does not die at all. Just playing really passive on Sombra. but I think that's also because you didn't get many fights, right? ColorX kept dropping in the beginning of those, so you were not able to really make anything.
He's already equaled his damage from the whole last round. And it's taken him 90 seconds max. Guangzhou looking a little bit stumped early. Big ultimates really being built. I mean, it would be a nano boost there potentially for Nero, just to get a gainful barrage. Kellex does go for the Valkyrie here, so the Uprising is starting to dig their heels and they're definitely feeling a bit threatened. Happy sitting back. Look at that point capture progress. Guangzhou charge almost to one complete tick. Nero close quarters here. Oh! Okay, Nanoboost really not enough to keep him alive there. Blase was able to clean him up, and that Transcendence from Persia going a long way for Boston.
Yeah, they did end up forcing the Transcendence. So they end up using Nano Boost on Nero. That actually uses the Transcendence from Persia inside. He's trying to save Blase as well. So you do have the Barrage and Dragon Strike to use in the next fight. If you're the Guangzhou Charge, they've been really good at comboing halts with the Dragon Strike. Same thing on the board for Boston, and they have the defensive side. So they do have the ability to just kind of hold strong here on the point. Let the Charge have to bring the fight to them.
A lot of time left here for Guangzhou. 90 seconds. Self-destruct over the top. It was actually Shu being felled. That'll slow them up initially. Resurrect for Chara. Don't even worry about it now with Nero being out of the picture.
Maybe now.
There's a resurrect here from Kellex, surely.
No, they're going to play around the corner to try and prevent this.
Kellex is too deep.
Yeah.
And he's a long way away from being back in this fight. That could have done it. Colorhex probably has to make a play here to try and even the odds. Supercharger down. Rio steps up to the point here, and the Uprising and try and stay safe for as long as they can. The Sport Camp! Fusions! Oh, it's going to be the whole hog as well! Fusions gets taken down!
What a play.
Fortify means that he can't be knocked away by a whole hog, so he takes full damage for the entire duration, even with the damage reduction. It's not enough! That was a perfect play there from Hotmar. He knew that would work if he got close to the Orisa. And again, it was Fusions going down in enemy territory that precipitated this whole chain of events. And the Charger on the board on Hollywood.
That is a sick play from Hotba. He goes on flank, knows that there's players coming off the spawn. All it takes is that one hook on a Fusion.
You don't want to fortify when you're getting whole hog, but realistically, there was nowhere for Fusions to run anyway. If he got knocked back by the Roadhog ult, didn't fortify, he still would have been pinned up against a wall. There's no winning there.
So now they go dive. So they go Winston D.Va. RCK stays on D.Va, but they have Fusion switch over to Winston. It's going to be a very difficult dive going up against this Orisa. And the double sniper in play. Look at Fusion getting blown up.
Yeah. It looked like he just wasn't in sync. You know, the Hulk was thrown out, but Boston were already diving. So, you know, the D.Va of RCK gets held in position, but then Fusions goes for the dive and has no protection on the way in. No defense matrix to cover him.
And he gets hit with a Discord right away as Persia now falls to the hands of Hotba.
It's getting out of hand, Matt.
So this is looking very, very good for the Guangzhou Charge. And this would be the series. I mean, they would put it away here.
Happy down to Blase. Was able to sneak in and find that kill, but RCK is pinned here. Nothing to be done. He gets desuited straight up, and now Fusions has no damage mitigation and also a Discord orb on him. He can't survive. Here comes the Transcendence from Persia, but there's no big bodies to keep in the fight until now. Kellex gets a resurrect. Nero with a Dragon Strike onto the payload. This will force Boston off. Can they contest? Fusions, no! He gets clipped with a little bit of the Dragon Strike and then removed by Rio, and the bomb in will just secure things here. The Guangzhou Charge will not be stopped. And they will take Hollywood after a little bit of a rocky start on attack. They break through and the momentum is enough to carry them to the end of the map.
This one has not been that close as Guangzhou has come in. Had a very strong game. Boston has not really looked strong here at all.
I mean, this could be a continuation of the backslide. Not good. Still another map to go. Boston have to lift.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Apagando las luces. Rocket barrage incoming.
Well, welcome back to the Overwatch League here, and people are starting to make a little bit of noise. I hate to spoil it for you, but there are a couple of fresh faces stepping out onto the stage. The Guangzhou Charge are looking to make a bit of a mix-up here.
Now, why not? I mean, they're up 3-0, they're rolling. Doesn't look like Boston showing any signs of life, so bring everybody out. Let the fans have some fun.
I'm good with it. That's totally fine with me. Again, they got the series locked up, a great chance to get some of this new blood out. Okay, let's go through it. Eileen, one of the Chinese players actually on this roster, comes in for Happy. What are they cheering? I can't make it out.
He'll come in, damage dealer role. Nero is actually going to be the only other one that stays in.
Who's that?
It's your boy Fraggy. Fraggy's staying here for Rio, so
the Viking has come home.
Newly acquired player from the Philadelphia Fusion.
Fraggy, one of the most storied players in European Overwatch history. Bishu as well returns. Firstly, in front of the crowd, of course, with the LA Gladiators now representing for the Guangzhou Charge. And it's a smile that we have dearly missed in this arena. Raya's also coming in here. Bishu. A lot of these players coming up from the academy team. Raya's obviously used to be on Metabellum.
Yeah, and then Only Wish coming in for Char, so that'll round it out.
This will be the second Chinese player on the Guangzhou roster as well. LGD Gaming.
You subbed out the supports, you subbed out both tanks, and then you left Nero in and then brought in Eileen. So a lot of changes here for the Charge. Give these guys some run. A lot of them I know have been on the bench or for their team or other teams. So going to be an interesting look here for the Charge in our fourth map.
A lot of trades, obviously, in between stage 3 and stage 4. So it's an exciting time here to see what Guangzhou are going to offer. Now, historically, when teams have done this, they generally don't win the map. So maybe, temper thine expectations, if you will.
Looking over, he's like,
yeah, exactly. And you know what he's thinking? He's like, are they changing the team on us right now? Is that the disrespect play? Let's talk about Fusion so far during this series, though. We're still much more aggressive from him than normal. What's your report card for young Cameron?
A lot of deaths. It's been kind of tough here. 4 Fusions today on the previous map. I know overall he had like 5 elims with 2 final blows and 10 deaths. So seeing a lot of deaths come down from Fusions today. I think it's just going to take a while with how Boston's trying to play for them to develop in this type of metagame.
For Fusions and the rest of his team around him, definitely has looked a little bit tough to actually begin fights with 6 players, right? A lot of the time they're getting picked off. That is how the meta is operating right now. With so many snipers present with Roadhog in the mix, we kind of reverted to a more fundamental brand of Overwatch where simply getting a player advantage will secure you fight wins.
And if you're struggling to get picks at the beginning of these fights, it'd be nice to actually have like a halt hook combo to potentially try and get one. Like teams are so good at countering it, right? You have like a D.Va in play or whatnot on the other side, but still, I think trying to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Like sometimes the color hacks like 3 or 4 times their offense on Hollywood was just taken out instantly right away on the Genjis, like above the wall, trying to go around, not able to make anything happen. Yeah, the third kit jerseys still available. You can see Boston's got them on now, looking kind of fresh.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams actually got some great looks on their third jerseys, so kind of cool, a little bit of flavor right here. Guangzhou's one is quite nice as well, actually.
They are not wearing it.
They're not wearing it. No, but yeah, a couple of those are coming out looking really good. I see a lot of the fans in the crowd wearing them.
He's had a haircut since the last time we saw him.
Fraggy, if you're not familiar with him, main tank player, real argy-bargy type, loves to play aggressively here, known for his Reinhardt play especially. Bishu, a linchpin for the LA Gladiators, on that flex tank role. Probably expect to see him get on that diva.
And he's got to be extremely happy to get back out on the stage, right? If he played for the Gladiators last year, the hometown favorite. Now, you know, he really didn't get any playtime for the Gladiators. I believe he was sent down to Gladiators Legion for a bit, like a 2A type of contract. And then now coming back for the charge here, you know, potentially could help him make a run towards those overall playoffs.
I believe it was Chengdu actually that Bishu. Oh no, that was Silk Thread. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up here. Yeah, so it was. Yeah, obviously Bishu spent a little bit of time down in that contenders scene, getting a chance now. You know, the minds behind Guangzhou Charge and actually their academy team. If you remember Carlos, who was one of the coaching staff of the LA Valiant, he's very much a bit of his strokes on the canvas in this team's makeup. And look, if Guangzhou are able to come out here and show a good look, a strong backbone here in ostensibly a bench team, then that bodes very well. Then they're starting to look like maybe the Shock are with the ability to switch up a team and still perform very well in series, like the Dynasty were able to.
Yeah, and I also feel like with Bishu and Fraggy, you gained some leadership, right? Two players that were in the Overwatch League. Last year, both of their teams pretty successful, right? I know Fraggy on the Philadelphia Fusion. He kind of gets benched towards the end of the season for Sato, but still played a ton for them during the regular season. Helps them make their way all the way to the finals. And then Bishu as well for the LA Gladiators, right? I know they start the season out a little bit slow. They bring in Fissure, and then Fissure and Bishu is one of the stronger tank lines we had in the league.
Fraggy, of course. Honestly, we weren't ready for him, I think, to actually get subbed out from the Philadelphia Fusion in Season 1. I think maybe people weren't expecting it. They knew that Sato was obviously waiting in the wings to play, but Fraggy, for all his ups and downs, definitely had some really defining moments for that team. So the thing is that Reinhardt just isn't played all that much right now. So we may see more Winston, more likely even Orisa on this map. Havana is where we're headed here. And this map requires a certain kind of composition to really work.
You went from Ryan Zarya being like the most dominant combo, and obviously with a lot of tanks in the mix, but still a lot of times you're playing around that Reinhardt Zarya to a combination that we rarely ever see. So you'll have the Guangzhou Charge who'll kick things off on defense. So Nero going to be playing that May. He'll stay in for that. Fraggy on the Orisa, Bishu on the Hawk. And then you're going to have Eileen picking up Widowmaker. Boston still some time to make some changes.
Not great for Guangzhou on this map in the past, but things are different now, especially the way the game is being played at this level. So
I would say clear assessment. Things are a bit different now than they were last stage. Last stage has been crazy though, to be honest. Like everybody running like 3 DPS with like rank plays. The first time we've seen Fraggy in Season 4, we won. That's very, very long.
Finnish Overwatch is a very proud and storied history. We have a few Finns in the league, and they're all big impact players. Let's see what Fraggy can do here. That shield getting a little bit low. The wall being thrown up actually means that Fraggy can deploy another shield fairly quickly, but it wasn't picking up. Rise is still picked up by Colorhex. Fraggy has to now get back behind the ice wall. There's two Mays in action, so you'll see slightly different colored walls. Halt there, wall thrown up and straight into ice block for Blase. Again, same from the other side. And it's like these two teams are playing volleyball.
You can use the Mei wall to bring up the Halt hook combo.
There it is.
And Blase with it. As the Halt goes high in the sky, Bishu connects the hook.
I feel like both teams are just going fishing, right? Just seeing what they can come up with.
I feel like you've seen Mei a ton at the beginning of this stage. And I think until it develops a bit more than meta, I think you're going to see a lot of Mei. As Mei is really good survivability. The right clicks, the alternate fire, the icicles, no damage fallouts, so really good damage at range. The slow up close, the wall to separate. No teams where they're not running Lucio, that are a little bit slower, not able to all make it through some of these chokes. So Mei brings a lot to these teams in these compositions.
Ult thrown out, hook followed up. That seems to be the order of the day currently. At any rate, the charge have given a little bit of ground. Both teams are just looking to try and pick someone out from behind the barriers. Oh, but the wall always comes out as the counter.
And I think if you're Boston, it's important to get a map win here. Start to look a little bit better. I mean, you never want to come in and enable Nero to break that up, but you never want to see the other team. They sub in everybody who's been on their bench, a bunch of new pickups, and then what? You're gonna get rolled by that squad? You gotta come out here and look good. Do the Uprising.
You have to excuse the pun, but the pace of this attack for the Uprising has been glacial so far. It's been a matter of just trying to fish for a pick and then to try and push up.
You really been utilizing those 2 days off before we catch.
I've been re-pushed.
Really getting
Hey, listen, I tell you, fairy tales are great. Children's rhymes also great.
really hitting your final form here in stage 4. The charge still holding very strong on defense like they have the whole series. This time though, just doing a little bit of the different composition. So yeah, Nero with the Blizzard here. Blizzard for Blase as well. These first pickoffs have almost always gone to the charge though. I mean, that's really, I think, if there was one thing to take away from the whole series, like if you're Boston, like you go back and look at it, like just like trying to work for some of these picks in a little bit of a slower game, it's not worked out for them.
Bear this in mind as well, the charge have a mercy, so they can sort of, you know, provided that the teammates' bodies carry too far into enemy territory, they can sort of, you know, pick people up that get picked off by Color Hex. Color Hex only has one final blow right now. In fact, it's just him and Fusion. So that's a supercharger now from the Uprising. They're able to shield off with the wall, Guangzhou's, and this might be their chance. RCK just taking the brute force approach by the looks of things, and Fraggy's not going to be able to hop, skip, and jump away from that.
Yeah, that is a nano whole hog combination that comes down, and RCK coming alive here on Roadhog. Like we've kind of talked about, they haven't really played a ton of Roadhog in this series. Outside of early on, they played about 6 minutes going into game 3. They didn't really play it at all in the last map. So they bring out Roadhog here. In our final map, RCK picks up 2 kills that gets Boston the first point.
Holds. Hook blocked by a wall, and that's the sequencing you probably expect to see with these two compositions. It's a matter of trying to outfox one another and get value. Nice Blizzard everywhere. I mean, Blase took a big risk to go deep for that one, but they're forced to shield it off because, well, Sane gets done back to them. So the team's locked in a stalemate here. Vishu's able to get away there. He was going to down. Eileen is picked off though. Kellex trying to keep Fusions and Co alive. Blase can he keep him up? Ho, yes! Blase's able to finish up Vishu. Just the sheer volume of healing for the Uprising was quite good there.
Eileen's still alive here though, and then Only Wish is going to pop the Valkyrie. So you're in play here still if you're the Guangzhou Charge. As your Honest back in as well as Fraggy. There's just so much survivability with the Orisa, with fortifying the shield on the point. You have the Valkyrie as well. That'll be a nice Maywall though that comes in from Blase, separates the Orisa.
You have to be careful as Orisa as well. If you are, you know, in the process of being yoinked upwards by Holt, you hit your Fortify, you continue on that trajectory even after the Holt is finished its activation. So that can also put you in an awkward position.
Eileen switches off of Widowmaker here. That's a wall to break up the Halt Hook combo. They jump down.
They gotta go, Matt. Getting rid of Color Hex. It's a good start. Eileen with 2. Look at it, he's very comfortable up here. It was quite a while before RCK realized, but nobody on the point. It was just Bishu. Nero was down there as well, so not really enough. So the charge, they concede the second checkpoint rather easily.
Yes, now Boston is starting to get rolling. Although a lot of subs do come in for the charge, still good play coming out from the Boston Uprising. You're seeing some really good May walls from Blase. And I think having the Roadhog in play just adds a different layer. A lot more survivability with Roadhog. Say they'll push up, extra damage on the shield, the threat of the Halt Hook. So really, I think it's something that Boston's going to have to do is, you know, as their stage 4 moves on, they're going to have to incorporate more Roadhog.
Importantly now, the Uprising is starting to get some of those first picks, Matt. That's something that wasn't happening on the first stage of this map. The charge were getting much more value out of their Halt and Hook.
No one can hide.
The walls have been good here from the Uprising. Again, another pick. Eileen taken down. See, the Chargers really have to stand a long way away, keep Boston at arm's length, hope their shields hold out. That's why they're using the May wall to prolong the life of the Orisa shield. Okay, Fusion's getting data boosted here. He's going to be forced back. And the Blizzard now, it's a bit of a bait. Guangzhou Charge going to get caught up in this one, and Fusion's, oh, he can't go anywhere either. Both teams are going to pull the trigger, and Eileen had the better follow-up. The Dragon Strike through the Blizzard will end the fight.
Yeah, the Dragon Strike basically from the spawn there gets the Olymps for the charge. That'll be a hook from RCK though on the Bishu. So coming back off the spawn, you're going to have a slight advantage here for Boston for the time being. But with the way the spawn in is where the card is, Bishu's going to be right back into the fight by the time Boston goes. Taking a little bit of time here. They don't have any ultimates to work with.
This is a tough part of the map to push through, but no matter what composition or meta we're on, it's just owing to the architecture of this cul-de-sac. Bishu hooked in, very quickly taken down. No chance to take a breather there as he was stunned for the entire period of time. Nice block has to be used there. Persia now is going to get taken down by Eileen. Kellex, I mean, he's trying to push forward a little bit more to get good value here out of this amplification matrix, but again, it's just him. Very Violet-esque. Very Rascal-esque, sorry, should I say.
Yeah, and you're going to see the M Matrix here used for a little bit of extra damage. Also, the healing at the beginning is Kellex gets only wished to pretty much one shot as Color Hex up top. Gonna be able to finish him off, but the charge still holding on here. They have the Mei. Bishu also picks up one with the whole hawk.
Color Hex going toe-to-toe now with Eileen, who's picked off. RCK's able to get the job done here. Frozen stiff is Nero. He's not able to use the ice block, and it's going to be the Wrecking Ball now just to buy some time. Fraggy is on the job, but he's going to need some support here. Look at the wall in the back left corner. That's going to prevent reinforcements from coming. Bishu does get there, though. Just the Diva. Who will be next to step up? It's 18 seconds left in the round. Another wall on the left-hand side, and Guangzhou are getting bottled up inside their own spawn here. Nero tries to create a bridge for himself. That is so rude. Under 10 seconds now. Overtime, though, doesn't look like it's really going to be a factor for the moment, but there's 4 seconds remaining. This would be very annoying for Boston if they do it with no time left, and that's going to be the case. The Charge secure the overtime here, which could really hurt Boston in the end. It's going to be the whole hog now. Bishu just trying to fly out to avoid it. This is quite the stall now. The Doomfist coming in for Nero. Bishu DC'd and only, which is going to get picked off by the grenade. Going to make the difference there for Guangzhou. And it was a quizzical high five. Like, do we high five here?
That could have been worse for Boston. As Nero gets to the point, he actually uses his Mei wall to like boost him up, and then just use the ice school to get back, the ice block to get back onto the cart. And as he's throwing his Blizzard out, he's taken out. But if he gets that Blizzard off, you know, you have a lot of reinforcements that are coming back for the Charge. They may have been able to get a hold.
First stage was good for Guangzhou. I mean, the nature of this map is quite often attacking teams don't build up momentum, really. It's like each stage is almost harder than the last. It's not easy to blow out an opponent like maybe it is on Route 66. We saw that earlier today, the Valiant match.
People are going to become Charge fans pretty quickly if they start throwing this squad out for game 4s. People are going to be going crazy for Charge 3-0s. Thinking of Bishu and Fraggy coming out every week.
A lot of good-looking individuals with some mad skills. I mean, I think it's very cathartic to see, you know, faces like Fraggy and Bishu return to the league. They were instrumental in sort of, you know, pillars in building it up last year and mainstays for their respective teams. And they were missed on the period they were gone, but fear not, they have returned.
It'll be Boston now on D. They'll run Ana with Matisse. So they do not run the Mercy like we saw the Charge run. So don't have the ability for like the damage. Oh no, Kellex actually decides to change off of my advice. Bringing in the Mercy.
Damn, you and Monty out there just coaching teams from the commentary box. That's mad. That's mad impressive.
My team would be amazing. They would be unbelievable.
They'd have good shoes at least.
They'd have phenomenal shoes. They'd be loaded up with bomber jackets and hoodies. They'd be phenomenal. Yeah, our third kid jersey.
They'd be warm in this arena, bro.
Our third kid jersey would have been a bomber jacket. You had Fraggy on the cart, playing the Ariza, just trying to.
All right, here it is.
They like to throw like the wall up and then get the hook over the top of them, that wall.
You can't see it coming, right? The wall actually,
yeah, kind of like.
You need to listen out for the sound cue.
Well, it's actually kind of interesting, right? You like block all vision. The other team doesn't know whether like you're moving up directly behind the wall, or you can throw the hook. You can throw the holds to the side of the wall, try to pull somebody from the side. You can throw it on top. So.
A little bit harder because you need to get it. I mean, it needs to get around the back of the shield.
Yeah.
Not always easy to do. If the player is on the other side of a shield and there's a hold on the other side, it's not going to work. Don't know why that is. Don't ask me. So many things about this game aren't realistic from a physics standpoint. Eileen is brought back there, so that is obviously what the Mercy's offering both these two teams. It's not to cover up hook kills because normally their teammates are too deep in enemy territory to resurrect, but it's the Widow pick-off, so they can definitely fix up. Fraggy forced to put the shield there in a kind of an awkward spot.
Rise now and sleep so you don't have the benefits of an Ana in play as he actually gets hooked.
Yeah.
As soon as he wakes up, this is not going to be resible. So.
Oh no, he's not getting away either. Okay, so
maybe now they get the Blizzard coming through.
Okay, Fraggy gets out. Bishu is going to get caught there, and yeah. I know Brem was talking about it was a pocket. He said eat frozen pulled pork. I don't think I would. It's like the Uprising though don't have any scruples about that part of their diet.
Well, they did actually, if you're a Charge fan, you did get to see them, the other team. They used the Blizzard there. Blizzard pretty powerful, with slow-moving targets. The Ariza can fortify and walk out of it, but getting a quick pick onto the Roadhog looks pretty important as Bishu gets halted up. No hook comes through. hook comes through there on
Fortified.
the home, but yeah, it's fortified and then ice blocked as well.
Yeah,
Oh, big biotic grenade, that's 3.
Yeah, and the positioning here with the Blizzard means Fusions can't get away. He's not the only one, actually. RCK also got frozen, so, excuse the pun, but all the meat of the Boston Uprising has been put on ice. And the rest of them now just have to run away. There's nothing they can do because no one remaining on the Uprising can deploy shields.
And I think Kellex thought that it was just going to be Fusions that gets taken out by that. So he pops Valkyrie, gets out of the way, probably would have went in for the res right after, maybe use like a nano boost or something like that. You
don't contest these.
Trying to get close. And yeah, no, I don't think you're going to be able to contest this. This should be the Charge who are able to get the point. But you also burn Valkyrie there. It's only wish I'll have this out Valkyrie for an upcoming fight.
What do you think about old combos with these team comps, Matt? Do you sort of just use them at your own volition, like the old dive compositions, or is there a sort of rhyme or reason to like, setting up for a big fight?
I mean, I think the one you kind of like build around is like Supercharger. I think Blizzard as well. Like, you don't really feel like horrible like burning like a whole hog, or you know, let's say you want to use a nano boost to just keep somebody alive. That'll be the ice block that actually gets Blase thrown forward. And he gets hooked out of that Blizzard. So the Blizzard from Blase does not go out. He gets hooked out of it there by Vishu.
Well, was it a Hulk that pulled him forward and then he ice blocked and
yeah, the
motion going?
The ice block effect has the same as like Fortifying.
Right.
You get halted.
So you remain on the current trajectory you're flying.
Yeah, and you can either like launch like, sometimes you get shot like straight up in the air. And
gotcha.
Sometimes you just kind of get propelled forward. Right there. See the Charge pretty much use everything to get the job done. Nero will have a Blizzard for this next fight, so it'll be very difficult for the Uprising to come down challenge point.
Yeah, not a very defensible position for Boston now. They've lost a lot of the really good high ground. So Fusions drops down, Shield's there. I love it. Blase drops down, and he gets taken down straight away. And then he went for the ice block first. I don't think he realized it wasn't that urgent to stall. The payload was still a little bit away from the checkpoint. He's down either way. Blase was brought back to life. He went Nero's trying to put things on ice, and Fusions gonna get stunned up here. Nero maybe didn't need to wall himself, but he was low on health and maybe wanted to go for a Blizzard. That wasn't necessary though, and the Charge are on the final stretch with 3 minutes and 43.
Yeah, they end up using their nano boost on a Bishu there, being able to push them over the line. Nero does not have to use Blizzard, so you end up with a Blizzard towards the later stages of the match.
So risky, us.
Yeah, they're going for the hooks off the side there. You just kind of get the hook, just turn them like almost like 90 degrees.
I mean, if you're RCK then you get hooked and die, does it really hurt you that much?
If you're RCK, yeah, I mean, you give them a ton of payload progress here. If they don't have him, I mean, you're going to see the payload get around to this first corner.
Looks like the Uprising doing that anyway. Corner, there it is! They hooked a big one!
Would you rather have had him died before, you know, off the side, or right there? You would have taken him before.
Heartbeat. No fishtails being told here, just big catches. The Charge now gets to set up on the front door. Fusions throws a barrier upward. It's going to give him a little bit more time to deploy his second barrier after this one is broken. Yeah, that's fortified for you. Colorhex is able to find Eileen though. But still, looks like the Charge want to commit. They knew they had the Resurrect for Eileen and now the Supercharger here. RCK going to force the back, get rid of that Supercharger, but he's put to sleep. Then frozen, and we frozen again if he's not careful. Another Blizzard's going to come down. RCK, he's out of the picture. Fusion's gonna have to try and hide behind his barrier, but Bishu is on the hunt and he has whole hog. Something's shooting Bishu from behind. He seems to know what it is because he didn't turn around to check. Yeah, it was Blase. He's in trouble now. Whole hog, nano boost, not gonna be enough. And into the corner. RCK is forced to sit. Fusions will be taken down. 2 minutes, 13 seconds on the clock, and the Charge will be very happy with that time bank.
Only Wish made an unreal play there. As he popped Valk, Rise gets put to sleep, and he actually uses Valk instead of healing him on the ground to chase the Widowmaker Colorhex all the way around back to the other side. Extra innings right after this quick break.
So the reason why it was so notable that the Guangzhou Charge were able to force Boston into overtime on Boston's attack is that, I mean, they would have got a time extension at the end, right? So if Guangzhou finished with a bit of time in the bank, They actually had 2 minutes and 11 seconds, but that gets bumped up to 3:11 because Boston needs to be given a minute now for their chance to go again. Guangzhou still have the same time bank lead, but overall, obviously more time to work with.
If you're the Charge, you play very close here. You just force fights on the payload. You win the first one, great. You're in a phenomenal position to hold them, like right on the street, pretty much. If you lose it, you still get another fight around the corner. Blase forced the ice block early as he gets hit. I believe a right click from Nero.
I like
maybe
this.
a shot from Eileen.
I don't think they know they know where he is now. Carla Hex was able to get the drop on a couple of individuals. No kills there though. Guangzhou are able just to duck around the corner before that ult comes in, and Fusions wants to step up. Not going to the corner here, you know, he wasn't as aggressive as he could have been here. Ult, hook, no, nothing from that one. Fusions is drawn up, that's it.
Another big biotic lead from Rise.
Oh, he's down!
With 3.
No more shielding, but no more time. The Uprising have to make do with what they've got now. 16 seconds remain in the round, and that immortality field is going to have to carry them. Eileen is down. Kelex's field is now mission. Bishu has found a Widowmaker. Color Hex trying to dodge away. No, it's not going to be happening. Fusion throws straight back in on the wrecking ball, but he's frozen immediately. Bishu has already built up to most of his whole hog, and that could be the game ender. The devastating coup de grace, and it is. Fusions is blasting off again, and Bishu now going to keep pushing in. Anubis on his opposite number. RCK has it too, and the whole hog here for the Finn. Where's it going to be aimed? Ice block immediately here for Nero, but as he pops out, he's still going to take a bunch of damage. Good wall reaction. Nero somehow still alive. No, the hook will secure it. Persia to finish him off with a biotic grenade, and Blase getting a kill. The Uprising still live.
You have to back up here if you're the Charge. You may have to give up this first point. So, Color Hex really keeps the Uprising in it. He gets that pick off, starts to rotate around. Though Bishu finds him, it just takes so much time away. Bishu just kind of rotating around, where it allows Boston to get set up on the cart with that Batiste and the Immortality field. Is a Blizzard in play here, or Blase? The Charge want to play close.
The Charge just want to get the Uprising off the payload, get a clean fight. Maybe starts with a pick here. They need to know they're contending with a Blizzard. Nero has one himself though. How does he get away from this one? Puts up the wall. Bishu though, he gets caught on enemy territory. Oh man. Nero left his teammate out to freeze dry.
Fraggy is able to get away. Only Wish pops the Valve, trying to keep them alive through that Blizzard. He will get Bishu back in the fight rather quickly here though. So Boston, if you're Boston, I think you try and go fast, try and manufacture another pick here before Bishu gets back. Too slow.
Hex, he's got a great line on the supports right now. No one protecting him. This is the first 2 shots, and here's the Blizzard now. This is the Guangzhou Chargers. Blase caught there, but look, Immortality field has been thrown up, and no one for the Charge was in position to capitalize with the wall thrown up, but now as the fight cleans up, they'll be able to do some work here. Eileen finds ahead. Getting rid of Kelex is just massive there, and Bishu, again, empowered by the nano boost to do the dirty work. The Guangzhou Charge put a stop to the shenanigans. Boston Uprising are held.
If you're Boston, it's got to be frustrating. I mean, this is your, in between the stage, like this is the lineup you had to be scrimming with a lot. You had to be seeing some good results. And to come in here, lose the first 3 maps, you see the Charge, they sub all of their new players in here for this 4th and final map. And they set an unbelievable time. They hold you before you can get point B in your OT. It's got to be a tough one for Boston today to deal with.
For someone with a bit of pro playing experience, how exhausting is it to try and stay talkative and positive when you're getting blown out in a series like this?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, I was horrible at that. I mean, as soon as we started to lose, and I knew as a team we should be able to, at least contend with or beat, the frustration is just, unreal. You try not, you can see Fusions on stage, right? He's got to be frustrated, but he knows, he needs to keep everybody up, and I think being his role is the hardest out of everybody because everybody looks for you to be, talkative and positive, and as soon as you stop, everybody else realizes, it's over, right? So you always have to go, 100 and be as positive as you possibly can, which in some of these situations with a game this tough, it's hard to do.
I feel like even if he's faking it at this point, you still need it as your teammates, right?
Yeah, but you play with these guys so much, it's hard
to
know.
They know when you're faking it.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah. All right, 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock, and the Charge have a decent span to cover. Out of the gates again, hits back to the fishing trope. Oh, that's a hook. Oh, that's gonna make things worse for Fusions. Yeah, he's scratching the back of his head. He knows that is a very bad start for them. And if this is, oh, okay, Color Hex. That was more of a flex than anything else. A little bit of a stagger on his death. And yeah, the Uprising now just have to retreat back into their Warren.
If you're Boston, you almost feel like you have to come out and try and fight this again, right?
What choice do you have? You cannot give so much free real estate here.
I mean, what are you going to do? Give up the first point and then try and hold for basically like 2 minutes?
Oh. Charge, ultimate-wise, not a lot. I mean, they found picks, but haven't gained a lot of ult charge from Roadhogs or Orisses. That hook there looked like it was close. RCK making the aggressive peek out. This could be dangerous now. RCK very vulnerable. No! That's gonna hurt!
And every time they get one of these like players slept, right? Rise hits a sick biotic grenade. That time connects with 3 players, connects with Fusions, RCK, and Blase. Then you just get a good hook in. There's nothing you're going to be able to do after that if you're Boston. That'll be a first point take again for the charge.
Victory here still for Boston is not out of the realm of possibility. This is sometimes quite a treacherous part of the map to fight through. Especially if the Boston Uprising can get good high ground. Their spawn has them coming in here a little late. Looks like Frag's looking for a sneaky ult from under the bridge. Do they get anything? No, wall comes up. Rise picked off as well, so all good signs for Boston here. This will temper the aggression of the charge for now.
So Color Hexes look to come alive on the Widowmaker here. The fourth map is both Widows pop walls, Eileen. Well, I mean, Color Hex not going to have the walls for long.
Hey.
He gets face written off well, Eileen.
You don't need wall hacks to see the bullet coming straight through his face. Eileen down, but this is looking bad now. Bishu in a whole hog position. RCK was giving it as well. Who's going to get it first? Never hook first! Bishu chased out Kelex, he won't get away either. He's getting close now. I mean, the charge getting the breakthrough this part of the map means the bell is tolling for the Uprising.
They did have to use everything, but the golden box of victory is so close. It's right around the corner. You can see that blue outline is just one pick off. And they have to switch over to Wrecking Ball to even get back and get a touch.
Last chance saloon. Fusions, unsurprisingly, is the first to step up to the plate. He's going to get into the backside and try and contest as long as he can, and that's a Blizzard being thrown down by Blase. Frankie's able to walk out of it though. Nero would have been caught, but he had Ice Block. It was just Bishu, but he's healthy enough. That Blizzard doesn't achieve much at all. Color Hex again, dumpstered by Eileen. A 4-player biotic grenade here. Is the follow-up sufficient? RCK is trying, but he's locked in position. He can't take a breather, and Eileen's able to pick him off. You're vulnerable as Roadhog when you go for that. Sometimes you need the nano just to stay alive, and now the cleanup crew has arrived. The janitorial endeavors proving fruitful, and it's just Kelex, and he will get taken down. There will not be anyone left to challenge here for the Boston Uprising. And out to rout! And the Guangzhou charge don't leave much left to the Uprising to pick up after this one.
It's the first time we see Fraggy on the stage since Stage 4, Week 1 last year.
He's looking swole as hell.
Comes in, they get a win. I mean, a lot of these guys just do teammates, right? Put things together. But the charge, they looked so good throughout this series.
Hey, all you needed was the gates of Valhalla to open up inside your team house and have him ride forward.
Eileen on map 4, by the way. Now, the Widowmaker play kind of goes, he starts to pop off towards the end, but 32 elims, 25 final blows on Widowmaker there, with a 42% scope crit accuracy. Really good performance from Eileen on a team that also has Happy, 2 really strong Widowmaker players.
I mean, you're kind of spoiled for choice now, aren't you, with Nero over the course of the series, just putting consistent work in, setting his team up as well. More often than not, the main play there was instrumental. The sequencing of walls had to be good. And he'd be very pleased about that. And now we're going to get a word from the teams themselves. A man with impeccable taste in fashion, with 2 members of the Guangzhou charge. Head down to Danny Lin.
Mitch, thank you so much for that. You have impeccable taste in fashion as well. But everybody, give it up for Bishu and Fraggy. Woo! Amazing job. Bishu, this was your first time playing on stage as part of the Guangzhou charge. And, you know, moving from Gladiators to Guangzhou charge, how has that transition been for you, and how is the adjustment going?
I mean, I think the adjustment has been pretty smooth so far. I never really had an opportunity to play during Season 2, so this was like a really big moment for me. And you know, I'm really grateful to Guangzhou for giving me this opportunity. And you know, I think this goes to Fraggy as well. But we were on the bench for so long, you know, just getting that motivation to play. So this was so much for us.
But you still have a lot of fans. We got some. You have a lot of Bishu fans right over here. Bishu, I'm gonna give you a quick second. Just anything you want to say to all your fans.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, moving on. Fraggy, we've all missed you. It's been about a year since we last saw you on stage. I just want to ask, how does it feel to be back on stage playing Overwatch in front of all of your fans?
So yeah, I'm free, I guess. But yeah, we've been only practicing like around 2 weeks with the kind of bench boys here. So I'm like really proud of us. We made it here, won a map for the team, and really appreciate the coaches giving us a chance to play.
Alrighty. Alrighty, everybody keep it up for Bishu and Fraggy one more time. Thank you guys so much. Back to you guys, casters.
Yeah, Gladiators were up on stage there. That's who Bishu was referring to.
That's great.
What a great story. Fraggy, so stoic, you know, he's always been like that. He is free. I mean, people have been spamming free Fraggy for so long. Two of my favorite people, two of the most important faces of our league, in my opinion.
I think so as well. I mean, just two great ambassadors of the game, right? I mean, just great personalities. Good to see him back on the stage.
And of course, let's now review our standings, Matt, because obviously every match here has implications when it comes to the season stand. That is, yeah. So these are two divisions, of course. Now, importantly, we want to look at the cutoffs there.
Yeah, that's. I was looking at it too. I was like, huh. It's like the Charge, so they get to 7th over on their side of the division. As looks like the standings gone away, but they get very close towards getting towards that top 12. I believe they're in the top 12, like in 10th right now. With that win, they get to 11 and 12, so you think they could even get higher.
Yeah, after, I mean, we're still going to get blown out the Charge game after game after game, you know, early on in this season. So they're recovering quickly now, showing us some depth, which is probably what's most exciting about their rostering. Let's talk about our player of the match presented to you by Omen by HP. Someone who over the course of the series has made a consistent impact and impressed me greatly. It is Nero. Looking awesome over the course of the series, man. The Hanzo play was there. The Mei play from the very outset, you saw he was really, really in tune with the rest of his team. The Doofus was gross.
I mean, just like they talked about during halftime, it's all the different heroes that this guy can play. I don't think anyone realized that his hero pool was this strong and this deep. As you saw the Doomfist come out, the Mei, the Genji at times, Hanzo as well. So I think the Mei is the one where he makes the biggest impact in this series.
Yeah, I mean, look at this, you know, obviously, every time he's freezing an enemy, it's quite often resulting in an elimination here. He's got 50 elims over the course of the series. The Blizzard setups are very important. There are not many deaths. Not easy to kill Mei. The longer you can, you know, avoid that, the better it is for stall and also for setting up big ultimates. Nero on multiple occasions. The Genji also looked very, very good. So we should be very pleased with his performance today.
Overall, for the Charge, I mean, this looks like a meta that could really favor the players that they have on this roster, with Nero being able to play a lot of different things. You have Happy as well in the Widowmaker role. We saw him play some good Sombra today as well. The Charge could be a team that could rise to, towards the top 6 here in Stage 4.
Absolutely, they have a shot, not only you know, at getting into the play-ins for the playoffs, but even further than that. We'll see teams rise and fall over this stage because the game has changed. But coming up next, a battle of Overwatch League OGs. It's going to be the Los Angeles Gladiators taking on the Houston Outlaws. Not one to miss as we start to see how the smoke settles around this new meta. Stick around for that one. We'll be back with more Overwatch in just a moment.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
What's up, dude? Remember when we used to carpool to LAN parties?
Dude, we've come so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some Overwatch.